All right, we are going to call to order Reinvestment Zone number 16 City of Houston meeting. We're going to go through our usual process, and we will start with a board member roll call. If you're here, please either raise your hand or unmute yourself and say present. Robert Clay, not scheduled to attend. Dot Cunningham.
Present.
Ethel Johnson.
Present.
Steve Lerner is present. Kendall Miller.
He's different.
He's present. Judson Robinson. Lisa Simon.
Present.
Thank you. Louis Sklar.
Present.
Mary Carmen Tomez.
Present.
Terrific. Okay, now if we could have the Uptown staff identify themselves, please.
Judson is here. Sorry about that. Andrew Jared. Stephen Wood.
Betsy Kirkgard.
Shannon Daniels.
John Breeding.
Amy Escalante.
Bob Effington.
Delia Miswa.
Okay, if that's everybody, if there are other folks on the line, please identify yourselves.
Judson Robinson is here.
Thank you, Judson. Any members of the public, please?
Jennifer Curley, City of Houston.
Thank you.
Monica Sprua with Binkley and Byfield.
Okay, Margaret Dunlap with Metro.
John, are there any other indicated people on the line?
Carnell.
Yeah, Carnell.
I think Carnell, are you?
This is Megan Gilmano with ABHR.
Thank you.
Yes, Carnell Emmanuel, ABHR.
Okay.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Okay, terrific. Just to remind everybody of the conference call rules, please say your name before speaking, and please keep your phone on mute if you are not speaking. So we have one item, which is to approve the minutes from the January 2021 meeting on page 1. I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes, please.
Lisa Simon, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Ham, second.
Great. All in favor, you can raise your hand or say aye.
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 Or both works too, by the way. Okay. We're going to now suspend Reinvestment Zone number 16 City of Houston, Texas meeting, and we will call to order Uptown Development Authority meeting. So we will go through the same process. First, we'll have a board member roll call. When I call your name, please say aye, wave your hand. Robert Clay, not scheduled to attend. Dot Cunningham.
Present.
Ethel Johnson.
Present.
Steve Lerner is present. Kendall Miller. Judson Robinson.
Here.
Great. Louis Sklar.
Present.
Lisa Simon.
Present.
Mary Carmen Tomez.
Present.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Staff member roll call. Please, Uptown staff, identify yourselves.
Andrew Jared. Stephen Wood.
Betsy Kirkgard.
Shannon Daniels.
John Breeding.
Amy Escalante.
Bob Effington.
Delia Miswa.
Josh Flowers.
Okay, thank you. We will now ask for the public. Any members of the public, please identify yourselves.
Jessica Hollebeck with ABHR is here.
Thank you, Jessica.
Jennifer Curley, City of Houston.
Monica Sprua with Binkley and Byfield.
Margaret Dunlap with Metro.
Any other public members, please? Okay. Our first order of business is to determine if there are anyone from the public who wishes to make any comments at this time. All right, hearing none, we'll go on to the next item. Our first item is to approve the minutes of the January 2021 meeting. I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes, please.
Lisa Simon, make a motion.
I'll second Mary Carmen Temez.
Thank you. Moved in second. All in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. Our next item of business is to review the quarterly investment report. So we'll turn it over to Shannon Daniels.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Page 6 is the first page of the quarterly investment report for the reporting period of July 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2020. The first page outlines by our funds, the balances that we have in cash or positions. Capital Projects Fund with Capital One Bank at the end of the period, we had just over 4.4 million. With Regions Bank, we had just over 4.8 million. With our infrastructure fund, we had just over 22.18 million. And then with the housing funds, we had just over 15 million. The second page of this report outlines those deposits that require collateral and or any investments and what it's invested in. And for our positions, we have deposits at Capital One Bank and we have sufficient collateral for that. As well with our Regions Bank deposits, we are sufficiently collateralized. And with our deposits in the Bank of New York Mellon, the majority of those are in a prime cash management fund, Dreyfus Treasury, which is US Treasuries. And those are approved investments under the policy. Likewise, we have our compliance training. We had 10 hours in August 2020, which keeps us in compliance. 10 hours are required every 2 years by Mr. Breeding and myself, and then the approved brokers. On page 8, you have the second reporting period for October 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. Again, the first page outlines those balances that we have in the Capital Projects Fund with both Capital One Bank and Regions. It also highlights the infrastructure fund, the deposits that we have with our trustee, which is Bank of New York Mellon, and our affordable housing funds that we have also with the Bank of New York Mellon, which is the trustee. The second page, again, talks about those deposits that require collateral. We have sufficient collateral for our deposits in Capital One Bank and Regions Bank. And again, our positions, our balances with Bank of New York Mellon are in a cash management fund, which is invested in treasuries and very liquid. Again, the hours compliance, we are there for the training and the approved brokers there. Are there questions or concerns regarding those two reporting periods? No?
Oh, okay, John, or Stephen, I don't believe that requires any action on our part. Is that correct?
No, no action, just a receipt by the board.
Okay, terrific. So we're going to go to the next item, which is to approve invoices. And again, we'll turn to Shannon, please.
Okay, thank you. Starting on page 10, we have a list before you of those payments that need to be approved. We have reimbursements to the district for the period, and this captures February and March because there was no February meeting. So we have 2 months in most cases of invoices from our vendors and contractors. For the reimbursements to Harris County Improvement District number 1, it's just over $230,000, 2 months worth of administrative fees and project management reimbursements, as well as some miscellaneous reimbursements for project costs. For the district on the Post Oak Boulevard project, as we are winding that down, we had just over $10,000 to be reimbursed for those expenditures. And then the last sections is our contracts or work orders with the Development Authority. And for 2 months, we just had just over $570,000 worth of invoices for you to approve. For a total of professional services and reimbursements, just over $819,000 for 2 months. And then next we have construction contract payments, $5.4 million. And that is primarily to Telepson, as they are the contractor on the Memorial Land Bridge project, and some small payments to Piper and Environmental Design for work finishing up on Post Oak Boulevard. I was holding just over $6.2 million for payments to professional contractors and or construction contract vendors. Pages 11 through 13 just gives you a little bit more information about those payments, outlines the vendors as well.
Yeah, go ahead and cover them.
Okay, and then we'll go to page 14, which talks about our MWDBE and SBE expenditures for the period. The top section of this page kind of looks at it historical from inception, where we achieved 40% year to date for professional services, where we have a goal of 24%. And then for construction, year to date, well, inception to date, excuse me, we have 24% achieved, whereas we have a goal of 17%. The bottom part of this page looks at this fiscal year to date. So for professional services, again, the goal is 24%, and we've achieved 62% year to date and 48% on construction year to date, where that goal is 17%. And then the pages that follow outlines, you know, either the prime contractors and their subs and what we've spent year to date there. And then you can also see some graphs for professional services that shows you year to date, just graphically where we are. For professional services, we've added more information on the further breakdown of those DBE consultants.
Okay, go ahead.
Are there questions or concerns regarding the invoices that we have before you or the DBE report?
If not, Mr. Chairman, we'd like to have a motion to authorize the payment of these invoices.
Do we have a motion, please?
Lisa
Cunningham makes the motion.
Thank you. Second?
Mary Carmen Temez, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. I assume that we have now, Shannon, taken care of the NWDBE report.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And thank you. And we're now going to get an update on our projects, and we'll turn it over to John Breeding and Andrew Jarrett, please.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. I want to give you just a couple of quick updates on some projects that the management district board of directors have undertaken, and it impacts the ability to be able to work with the Uptown Development Authority in implementing projects that we both benefit from. First of these is what is called community project funding. As you can see right here, this is a map of pathways, shared paths that connect the Uptown area into Memorial Park, and then in Memorial Park to a broader area. This is a part of the Uptown Development Authority's responsibility as part of the Memorial Park Master Plan, as well as the management district desire to provide better connection of the Uptown area into Memorial Park. These three segments are being discussed at this time. Again, it's part of the Memorial Park Master Plan. Number two, it is part of the Uptown Development Authority's defined responsibility in the Memorial Park 10-year plan. These three segments have gone through planning, have received environmental clearance for federal funding, and we've actually received FTA stands for Federal Transit Administration. We've received a letter of no prejudice, which means any funds that we spend now can be captured and used as local match for future projects. These projects are estimated to cost somewhere around $27 million. They are currently included in our region's transportation improvement program, which is a requirement in order to actually receive federal funding. The management district worked with the Uptown Development Authority as we developed Post Oak Boulevard, as you know. The management district is actually a certified federal recipient of funds. We can receive direct grants from the federal government. It's not very many organizations within the community can do that. And what we have done cooperatively with the Uptown Development Authority is that the district applies for the grants, receives the grants, and then the Uptown Development Authority actually provides the local match. I hope I said that correctly. And so that's where we are at this time. The management district board of directors has approved our actions to submit these funds, and it is a currently evolving process, but we believe that these submittals have to be in by May 21. What the board did today is affirm their commitment, support for these projects, authorized us to make application for them. And we recognize that we're going to have to work with others that will maintain much of these projects in the long term. So bottom line is, it appears that the U.S. Congress is going to be direct federal funding for projects. And we are pushing these projects forward to receive some of those funds. Any questions upon that, about that?
John, this is Lewis, and I do have a question. I looked at your drawing of the 3 segments. I'm having a hard time understanding why that cost $27 million. Can you spend 2.5 minutes explaining why what appears to be just a trail cost $27 million? I'm sorry, but I've just forgotten the details.
Well, it has to do with some fairly expensive bridges crossing I-10, Buffalo Bio. For example, the project in light blue on the west side of the West Loop, and then the green that goes along the West Loop and then goes under and then ties in. That's probably a $5 million project itself. More expensive projects are up on that north side where this proposes a crossing of I-10 and then has elevated structure around all the railroad yards and railroad lines up on Washington, north of I-10, bob to the right, if you will, and all of that. So I think, Andrew, the current San Felipe to Memorial Drive is a $10 million project itself. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so, Lewis, I tend to agree, but once you do get into building bridges, it probably turns a $5 million project into a $10 million. Although I will say the one that would serve the immediate Uptown area there at Uptown Park in the west and going down underneath 610 is probably totally the one we desire the most and the one that costs the least. So I'd be glad to give you more detail, Lewis, about the actual cost element for the individual pieces. And I don't think that we obviously haven't completed design on this, that this dollar amount gives us some room to be able to do all these projects, including the San Felipe project.
Okay, well, obviously we'll see the detail again. And I think the bridge explanation is helpful. That's just a lot of money for what has been characterized, I guess, as a trail. And I did not really think about, getting over Interstate 10 also. So thanks, that helps.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? We also took action today to actually, as you build things, you find you have to maintain it. All of you are familiar with that. And unfortunately, we found that if you build something people find a way to drive their cars through it. And so we went out and secured some proposals for ongoing electrical maintenance for our lighting on Post Oak Boulevard at the stations, our pylons, and our median lights. But in addition to that, we have ongoing responsibility for some of the physical facility for traffic signals. You can see in the upper right photograph, our push buttons that allow pedestrians to cross seem to be a really, it must be a very interesting target for cars, as well as median signal poles. And so throughout the years, we have replaced those on a sort of as needed basis. And what we went in with is to put this into a package where we can, on a call out or as needed basis, we have a committed cost for materials and labor for making this happen, and that we have an ongoing mechanism for maintaining what we've invested in. And we awarded that to Reliable Signal, who in fact was a part of the sub-consultants that helped build Post Oak Boulevard and install the systems that we're now looking to maintain. One last thing that I would present before I turn it over to Andrew. Several years ago, and I can't even recall, it had to be all the way back somewhere around 2005 or so. The West Loop was reconstructed, and we worked with TxDOT and we landscaped much of the West Loop. We provided the local match for those funds. The pond down by Hidalgo was part of that construction effort, as well as landscaping up and down the West Loop. Well, with the construction now down at 610 and 59, rebuilding that interchange, much of that landscaping has been destroyed. Then when TxDOT constructed the bus way from Post Oak Boulevard up toward I-10, the rest of that area was destroyed. And so TxDOT came to us with a desire to develop a plan, and we entered into a cooperative effort with TxDOT. For example, this is just an example. I'm not presenting the plan itself. I'm really leading to a portion that our board of directors in the management district approved today. This is what it looks like down towards, this is northbound Post Oak Boulevard, just north of Richmond. And so we came in with TxDOT and developed some plans with materials that they found acceptable that we can maintain. One of the things that we have discovered over the years, that it is better to create things you maintain than turning them into forests, because forests create wonderful living conditions for folks who want to move in and live there. And we've had an ongoing problem with this in parts of our area. And so much of this landscaping you can see now is much different scale. Mowing is a pretty easy maintenance process. And so it turns an area that is looking pretty rough into, which will be, I think, an attraction to the area. Just showing you this area as an example, as we go along north of there up toward Buffalo Bayou and the West Loop, again, trying to create something we can maintain, yet bring green and some beauty into the freeway corridor. TxDOT is going to spend $1.8 million on these improvements that we have worked together on. That bid will go out in July of 2021. The construction will begin later that fall, and we see completion by next summer of 2022. Our responsibilities has been primarily in providing the design work and preparing the bid packages. And then finally, there is a section between Uptown Park Boulevard and Buffalo Bayou on the west side, which TxDOT couldn't actually do all that work. And they asked us to step in to do that work as part of our essential local contribution to the overall freeway, and to show you that area. if you'll notice here with the busway, the yellow sign that's on the right-hand side, that is about the center line of Buffalo Bio. There's some fencing that needs to be replaced along in this area. And then if we could soften this, sound wall with trees and some ivy to be growing upon it. This is also going to be part of the very significant part of the pathway that people take from the Uptown area into Memorial Park. This area, just over right at 600 feet, it involves irrigation, drainage, plantings for the wall, tree plantings, as well as some replacement of fences and actually a replacement of a wall down at the end of the sound wall. We awarded that contract to Landscape Art, $265,000, and that notice to proceed will be done in April. Should have completion done just after the summer in October of this year. So that will tie up what TxDOT could not get to, and over the next 12 months, we'll also get the rest of the West Loop looking much better as it was done way back about 15 years ago. Any questions? Any interest? Any questions anyone might have? If not, I'll turn it over to Andrew and let him give you an update of the land bridge in Memorial Park.
Thank you, John. This is Andrew. I'd like to begin with the end in mind. So we talked about this several years ago. We're 19 months away from hopefully seeing this picture. So we've got tremendous progress in the tunnels. The tunnels are just to the south of the Memorial Drive detour. We've set 425 feet of tunnels on the west side and 325 on the south. On the east side. The tunnels will have structural fill in between them. We'll load the structures in what we're calling lifts, 7 feet lifts. We've got a bentonite waterproofing structure that you can see there in black going over the top. And we're using all on-site materials, 550,000 cubic yards to backfill and go over these tunnels. The Seymour Lieberman Trail, or we call SLT, is being rerouted. We're about 50% complete here. We're using a decomposed granite for your running to help with the shock to your body. And then 2 curbs and about a 14-foot trail that runs through the just south of the golf course there. Memorial Drive, we're starting at the east end, moving to the west end. So we've got about 20% of it complete. You'll note also go backwards.
Okay.
You'll note the eastbound crosses the west detour. So there'll be a month lag between these two finishing. So we'll have the eastbound tunnels complete first and then the westbound. And I'll show you the schedule here. Quick picture of the Raytex work, very nice. Southern Trail Progress. So this Southern Trail actually runs around the perimeter of the prairie that's being developed. Mm-hmm. And it's just a deep decomposed granite trail without the curbing. And it's open, or basically open at this point. You can connect to it going down the railroad to the south and then cutting back. East Commuter Trail. So the Commuter Trail will be an all-weather trail, and it'll run all the way east to west on this entire project. Right now, we've got the east side complete. Very nice. And then the prairies, basically the southern part of the entire project. We've mined about 20% of it. You can see the track hoe here with the 20 cubic yard trucks running back and forth, and they're piling up the mounds, as you can see in the background on the tunnels. We're mining a seam here of sand, and we're using it for structural fill. So basically you've got a cut and fill balance here with no imported materials other than concrete and gravel. The budget at GMP was 70.4 in August. We're tracking. We believe we're going to be at 70.4 or under at completion. Scheduled to complete October 31st, 2022. Right now we're tracking mid-September 22. NWDBE goal was 20%. Right now we've contracted 33.43%.
And to date, is that 18% of 70 million or 18%?
18% of what's spent today.
Okay.
It'll track up to the 33%. The main thing is we completed the arches last Friday. So it's a big milestone for us. SLT will open in June, and then all traffic on eastbound October and then westbound in November. So right now we're sitting very pretty.
Hey, anybody have any members of the board who have any questions for Andrew or I regarding these projects?
This is Dot Cunningham. I'm out there most every day walking the trails and looking. Is there any way that we could have some kind of a tour or walkthrough with someone that knows where we are? Half the time, I don't know where I am, and I've been going to that park for 30 years. So is there any way we could meet up one day with some of these people and they could direct us and show us and talk to us? These pictures is not what I see mostly because I'm just looking from flat ground, but I would appreciate a tour at some point in time.
We would enjoy giving you a tour at your leisure.
Dot, I think I'd suggest to you that a tour with Memorial Park Conservancy and Andrew to not only look at what we're doing on the land bridge and the improvements that he just mentioned, but even going over all the other improvements that they've done from the Clay family, Eastern Glades, the new athletic facilities.
Eastern Glades are wonderful.
Yeah, they're just absolutely transforming the park. Yeah, we will.
So I'm sorry, are you saying that we should contact them directly?
No.
Or?
We'll take care. We will. What we'll do is that we'll set it up and we'll be contacting you to arrange times that are convenient. And if you know, one of you can do it at a time, no one else can, we could accommodate multiple visits. But let's see if we can put, you know, a few of you together. If you'll send me or Andrew an email directly, we'll start that process. Art, you probably know Amy's email better than mine. So if you'll send Amy an email, we'll make this happen.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I would love to. Is it Sarah Newberry? Is that, or Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah Newberry was with Kinder Foundation, used to be with Uptown TIRZ.
Yeah, I think she'd be so interesting. My question is, so I'd love to go on that too, Dot. My question is about the MWDBE report on Memorial Park. So with Tellefson getting the bulk of those funds, how does that work with them? Because I don't think they fit that category, right?
They're subcontractors.
Yeah, subcontractors.
They're doing construction management.
Okay.
And so the funds go through them. But for example, the fabricator of those concrete arches for the tunnel is a minority business enterprise. And so that's
$10 million.
That's $10 million right there.
That's right.
So we'd be more than happy to show you the detail of how that works out. But we are actually contracted with Tellefson, where by the contract, 33% of the funds for Memorial Park for these land bridges will go to minority women and disadvantaged business enterprises.
That is true.
Does someone from the city review that to make sure we're complying every year, or is it kind of a surprise audit, or how does that work?
Shannon deals with it. Shannon's not here. The reality is there is not as much auditing as you think you would expect, just because there are a lot of city contracts. but it's something that we've worked very hard for it to make happen and have fought for. So we make it happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing else.
Okay. So at this moment, we will recess the Uptown Development Authority meeting. We will reconvene the TIRZ meeting, and now we will adjourn the Reinvestment Zone number 16 meeting and the Uptown Development Authority meeting as well. Thanks everybody for participating. Appreciate it.